Hi, this is Liz Haas with Resist Photomask, and I want to thank you for joining us for session 19. This is part 2 of Production Tools, and if you've missed any of our sessions, you can go directly to our YouTube channel, Sandcarving, and we have a whole playlist of all of our live sessions that you can view, and they're actually in order. So if you want to look at anything that we've done in the past, you can go directly to our channel, subscribe, so that you know when we're doing a video. So let's talk about what we did last week. We talked about production tools. We talked about protecting our profits when it comes to operating and running your sand carving business as producing your stencils in large quantities. So I introduced to you last week the film dispenser. And I know some of you have already purchased it, so thank you. And I know that this will help you, especially those that are purchasing rolls instead of sheets. So the film dispenser is a very handy tool. We're going to use this today. We talked about the film trimmer. That's cutting down your stencils, but not only cutting down your stencils, is cutting down your film from the roll. So a very handy tool as well. And we talked about our electrolyte, our dryer, but your dryer here will speed up that drying process of your stencils. But what we did not cover last week were our washers. Now this is automation. This is bringing automation to your business. So I always address the washers as, do you hand wash your dishes or do you put them in a dishwasher? Do you hand wash your clothes or do you use a washing machine? See, over time, we have gone from doing it manually to doing it automatically. And that's what this whole process here is. We need to kind of move to automation. We've been washing by hand for years, but you know, that is time consuming. Yes, it works. Yes, it gets the job done. But you know what? If you spend a little extra money, just like you did on that washer and just like you did on that dishwasher, hey, you couldn't live without a washing machine today. There's no way. But like many of our customers, they cannot live without a washout machine. Okay, so this is where I'm going to kind of press you and show you the need of why you need a washer. Okay, so we're hand washing, we're producing the stencils. We love a washout film. Why? A washout film is flexible, it's repositionable, it peels off the surface easily, it's durable, you can paint fill. There's so many things that you can do with a washout film. You can make them ahead of time. There's no time limit of when you need to use it. So you can use it for curved surfaces. The benefits are endless when it comes to a washout film. Now, let's take that a step further. Let's produce them faster with our washout systems, okay? Now let me tell you a little bit of history when it comes to our washout systems. Now we are a family-owned and operated company. It's a great company to work for. I love this company. I love the leadership here. It's like everyone's family. But with that, you have people that have great ideas that put these ideas to work. And the founder came up with an idea because we needed to produce stencils right away. Now, the way that we started this company was we started producing custom-made stencils for businesses. You didn't have a washout system in your business. You ordered them from Resist, and we shipped them to you. And it took like 4 or 5 days. We processed that artwork, we made the stencils, and then you received them in the mail, and you started sandblasting. Okay, now with that, our founder had an idea, like, we need to speed up this process. Just like you're hand washing, we were hand washing back in those days. And he had an idea of where he saw like a cage, and he saw it spinning. And then he thought, hey, if we put water and something spinning like a drum and we loaded the mask, could we wash it out? And of course, you know, with lots of practice, with lots of trial and error, just like when it came with the photoresist film, trial and error, we developed a washout system. And the washout system, it came from this great idea, because usually where do ideas come from? Out of a need, right? You need something, that's where your idea comes from. So the nozzles were placed on a bar, and actually back in the day, the bar came from the bottom, and then you had a drum. So you're going to load your mask, you're going to close the lid, turn it on, and that water under pressure develops the film. And what a great idea, right? Just like that dishwasher, just like that washing machine, all automation. And let me tell you, it's changed the way that we operated our business with Washout Systems. Could you imagine if we were producing your stencils, thousands of stencils, and we were still hand washing? But it gave us the ability to increase our production and service our customers faster and better. That's what you're going to do for your customers. You can take that big order, you can receive it because you have a washer, and you can start producing those stencils right away. And I can't tell you how many times that I've had a customer that just has this little washer, just wanted to move that a step above hand washing. He says, no, I don't want to mess with hand washing, just give me the small unit. But he says, you know how many packets of sheets that I've ran through this in a week when they got a big order? He goes, it saved us so much time, and we were able to meet our deadlines. So if you're hand washing, that's fine. But I want you to really look at your business. I want you to evaluate it. How much packs of film are you purchasing? Are you purchasing 25 sheets a week, every 2 weeks? I think that if you're doing that 25 sheet packs, this right here is something that you can use in your business, because 25 sheets, that's a lot of stencils. A 25-foot roll is 35 sheets, okay? That's a lot of hand washing, all right? So let's go ahead and let's compare hand washing to each of these systems, okay? We're going to go ahead and hand wash a sheet, and then we're going to move through the different automatic washout systems that we have. All right, so let's look here. I have my sheet pack. I have 10 sheets today. And when I use the 1020 system, I'm going to use Electrolyte Unit. Electrolyte Unit, I know pretty much everybody has one of these systems. It's your UV light, and allows you to transfer your artwork over to your sand carving stencil. So I'm going to take a sheet out, and we're going to work with full sheets today. Okay, I'm going to put this back in, close this up. Okay, and then again, for those of you that are new to this process, shiny side down, matte side up. We're going to take our artwork, and here we have the Oklahoma flag. We're going to place that down. And what's nice is you see I have 2, 4, 6, 8 stencils that I'm making at one time. Okay, so 8 stencils. We're going to put the blanket on, and we are going to expose this for 20 seconds. And that's it, 20 seconds. And what's happening here is the artwork is transferring over to our photoresist film. And today we're using our Self Stick SR3000 3 mil. All right, so here we go, 20 seconds. We're going to pull this off the blanket. And I'm going to take it over to my wash station. We're going to hand wash, okay? So imagine you were doing, let's say, 20 of those. So how many sheets would you need? You would need like 3 sheets, so you have a couple extras. So I'm going to place this there. And okay, so I have my sheet on my board. I'm going to use my hand sprayer. And okay, we're going to connect this here. I'm going to make sure my little washer is down. And this is just a garden hose fitting. Okay, so actually I need to grab my timer. Someone's yelling timer. All right, so we are going to clear this, and I'm just going to set my timer here. I'm using hot water. I'm using the same hot water that I'm going to use for the 1020. Okay, so we're starting to see our sheet develop here. And this is a great design. It has some bold text, but you also have some detail. So I really liked using this design. And then one thing I want to keep in mind, if you're new to photoresist film, you want to make sure that you are washing indoors and that you keep the film covered until you're ready to expose it. Okay, so even after you expose the sheets, it is still sensitive to light. So you need to make sure that it remains covered until you wash out. But once you wash it out, it's no longer sensitive to the light. Okay, so I'm about 1 minute and 20 seconds. And I'm trying to work fast here. I have my nozzle really close. Okay, I think we're just about done. Okay, let's stop there. So we're going to stop. Let's say it's 1 minute and 41 seconds. All right. So we look at our image. All of our artwork is nicely washed out. Okay, actually I have a little spot right there. Let me just hit that with a little hand sprayer. But that looks pretty good. All right, so we have 8 designs completely washed out. And you always want to remove it from the board. You don't want to leave it on there because it's just going to stick to that board and you're going to have a hard time removing it. So I'm going to bring my timer with me. We're going to stick this in the dryer here. And I'll show you how I would cover those later. Okay. All right, so 1 minute and 41 seconds. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to do that same thing in a 1020 washout system. So let me go over this system real quick for you. This is no electricity. Okay, so you don't have to plug it in. You don't have to worry about what kind of outlet do you need, how many amps do you need. It's ran by water, so it's self-propelled by water. Once you stick the magnets on, your nozzles, the water pressure catches those magnets and it starts to roll you're using water pressure to roll the drum, therefore to wash out your designs, your sheets. And they're washed out consistently. That's what happens when you're washing out with automatic washout systems. You have a perfect distance from the wash nozzle to your drum, to the mask. Okay, so we have 2, 3, 4, 5 nozzles here, and you have about 2 inches. Okay, so I was washing about 2 inches, maybe 1 inch to 2 inches from the mask. Okay, so that's one thing that's ideal is when you're doing it manually. I'm going to tell you, sometimes I've seen so many people, when they're washing out their sheet, they're like rocking like this. And they're like, the center's all washed out, but the ends aren't. Well, if you have a board and you're just rocking it, because that nozzle is not hitting directly. Now, if you're washing out, you want to be consistent distance from the top to the bottom. You don't want to rock that nozzle, okay? So that is where I've seen some people, and hey, we're human. What did I tell you about standing up versus sitting down? We can tend to get lazy, right? So when you're washing out 25 sheets, do you think that you're going to be consistent every single time? No. You're going to lean over, and you're going to start to rock that nozzle, okay? Hey, I'm just being honest, right? We can tend to get a little lazy. So we're not perfect. We try, but we're not. All right, so let's go ahead and let's wash this out. When you receive this washer, you do have to install a water hookup. Okay, so it's hooked up to, you want to bring in a garden hose fitting, all right, and then you're going to hook that up to the 1020. So you got water coming in, preferably hot water. Okay, hot water will help it to wash out faster. Then you're going to drain it out. So we have a drain that's already prepped. It's a 1.5 PVC pipe drain, and then you would just install it into your draining system. So here we have a sink, and then we connected it to underneath our sink. We have a drain. So real easy to install. Okay, and so then you're up and running. So let's go ahead and let's install our hose for the 1020. Now I'm going to show you something here. I told you the 1020 is operated by water. So you have to have 40 pounds of pressure pushing out, 40, 45 push through the nozzles. Okay, that water has to come through the nozzle at that pressure. You can't have 40 pounds here. It needs to be operating that drum. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to install this here. Now this is again, our garden hose fitting. And I have a gauge here that's going to measure my incoming pressure. Okay, so we're going to tighten this up a little bit. And then give me a shout out. Where are you tuning in from? Love to hear where people are watching from. Okay, so now let's take a look. So I have both my hot and my cold on. Now let's see what happens when I turn off my cold. I believe what happens is my gauge starts to drop a little bit. Now, if someone's using the water, we have our production facility right behind us. She has several washers that are washing. My water pressure will start to drop. But let me go ahead and turn on my cold all the way, and that will pop up just slightly. It takes a few minutes. But if there's a lot of people using water in the building, my gauge does drop. Now, earlier, I had 80 pounds of pressure. And I had 80. It was great, but it fluctuates. And that's the one thing with the 1020 is it will fluctuate because depending on your water pressure. If you have great water pressure, then it's going to be no problem. But if you start to have low water pressure, so you can just see it's moving from 60 to 80. So someone's doing something in the building with water. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's expose a sheet, and we're going to put it on our 1020, and then we're going to wash it out. All right, and let me know if you have any questions on the washers. I'll take a look at the board in just a moment. Okay, so we're going to, again, apply our stencils to the sand carving film, the SR3000. Okay, let me grab my timer. And we're going to expose for 20 seconds. That's it. So some people ask me, what happens if I expose for longer? Well, now you're starting, if you go to 25 seconds, 23 seconds, you're starting to overexpose the film. So we want to make sure that we're very accurate at 20 seconds. I'd rather you hit 19 seconds than 23 seconds, which I almost went over right now. Here we go. So we're going to remove this blanket. Okay, we're going to load it on our drum here. Shiny side against the drum. Place the magnet here. And the magnet doesn't need to cover the whole sheet. You just need to do like a 1/4 inch. Okay? And the line should always be facing you. Okay, so that looks pretty good. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to give it a little spin. And then we're going to start washing this out. Okay. So I'll need to add like a couple seconds to that since I started the timer a little late. Let's go ahead and take a look at our water pressure. Okay, so our water pressure has dropped to a little below 60, maybe about 55 pounds. Okay, because it's using pressure to wash the sheet. So if you have incoming pressure at 40 and then you start to wash out, that pressure is going to start to really drop. And then you may not have a good washout. So it's really important to have more pressure. That's where it's important. And then you want to time it. So here is a manual timer. Remember, there's no electricity, so you have to manually turn it off and on when it comes to the 1020 unit. All right, so we have some warm water here, and we'll take a look at it. I'm going to stop it at 60 seconds, and let's take a look at that at 60 seconds. Okay. All right, so let's take a look at the board here. I have Nathan joining us. Welcome. I have Jim. I have Sally. And I believe I have a question. So let me take a look at the question real quick. What are your thoughts on using a pressure washer? Sure, you can use a pressure washer. Absolutely. But you are going to have a wider spray when it comes to a pressure washer, and you're going to have distance. So you'll need to play with the wash time, but it will spray everywhere where the washer keeps it contained. All right, so let's take a look here. So we have about 60 seconds, and then we have it washed out. So if you feel like, oh, I have a little spot here that's not completely washed out, you can take your hand sprayer, and then you can certainly touch it up. So instead of running more cycles, you can just use a touch-up with your hand sprayer to wash out or to touch up any areas that may not be completely washed. Okay, so let's go ahead and pull this off. And I'm going to put this in our dryer here. Now I'm loading this up with sheets of film. All right. Okay, so now we're going to move to our 1232. Okay, so let me turn off this water here. And we're going to get ready for our 1232. Now this right here requires electricity. All right, so electricity, you're looking at a 110 volt, so not a lot of electricity, but it requires a 15 amp. Okay, so you still have to have your water connection in, and you have to have your drain out. It's going to be the same drain that you used, that we would use for the 1020 unit. So 1.5 inch PVC pipe, you're going to drain it into underneath your sink or where there's a drain, and we did that right here. If you can see this pipe to go right into our drain system. So very easy to install. You have some really great functions. You have a sealed pressure tank, okay, and this is a certified sealed pressure tank. And what this is great because it has a heater on it. So when you bring in your incoming water hot, you're going to set the temperature, and we have it set about 120. And you can range it. You can change it from different temps. But you can see our sealed tank. Okay, that's going to prevent from overflowing. You have your temperature gauge. So we set it as a factory set for 120, and then you're going to see the garden hose fitting that you're going to connect your water to. So very easy setup. We've done all the work. You just have to plug in the water and plug in your drain. So you have a pressurized sealed tank that has your incoming water with a heater. It's not going to heat up cold water. What it does is it maintains your water temp. So when you're ready to hit start, you have hot water. So even if you walk away for 30 minutes and you come back, you still have hot water to wash your cycles. Very nice. It has a pump, has an energy efficient pump and an energy efficient motor. So you have all these items that deliver pressure, so it takes your current water pressure and it pushes more pressure and operates efficiently. So you have a lot of pressure to wash out your stencils. And this is going to be a little faster on washout time because we're using pressure. And we have, again, our sealed tank. So you're going to notice here the drum is a little larger. We're looking at 12 inches across and 32 inches. So 12 by 32. So you can do 2 legal size sheets, or you can do a long sheet. So if we had a sheet that was, let's say you had 14 by 20 inches or 14 by 30 inches, you can actually 12 by 30, you can put it on this drum. So you can do 1 long sheet or 2 legal size sheets. So we're going to do 2 sheets on this system here. Here we did 1 sheet, 1 legal size sheet. This is 10 inches across by 20. So we did 1 legal size sheet. Here we're going to do 2, and we're going to do it in faster time. Okay, so let me go ahead, and we're going to expose, but we're going to use the Luminex. So if you've watched any of our segments, you know that this is our production style exposure unit. It's a vacuum type system. So I'm going to take our roll this time, and let me move this electrolyte out of the way. Okay, and we're going to move our sheets out of the way. And now let's take our roll of film. Now I want to note, I do have a lot of light coming in this building or this room here. Okay, so you're going to notice there's a 500-foot roll at the back of my table. You would not leave that roll of film out like this. So this is just for my trade shows that we pull it out and we give people an example of what size rolls we can use and we can produce for you. So you never want to leave it out. You can pull out your sheets of film here, and you just want to watch your lighted areas. So let's do these Jack Daniels here. We got 2 sheets. So we're going to pull our sheet through. Let's move everything else out so you can see what I'm doing. Okay. Pull our sheet through. We're going to cut that, and then we're going to do 2 sheets. Okay. Roll this back up. Done. Let's take our sheets of film. Got 1 right there. And let's take our other. Okay. We're going to put down our Mylar film. We're going to vacuum this. Now I'm using the full width of this exposure bed, and it's vacuuming. We have a vacuum type exposure bed here. So this Mylar film here is a textured film which allows for air bubbles to be pushed out. So we're just going to kind of give it a little squeegee here to make sure all the air bubbles are out. Okay, so we have a good vacuum. We're going to bring down our light. Okay, and then we're going to expose for just 6 seconds. That's it. So you are already increasing the exposure time, because here on the Electrolyte Unit it's 20 seconds with 1 sheet, but here we have 6 seconds with 2 sheets here. Okay, going to lift this up. Great. So now let's start to load our sheets of film. Okay, so now we have, I think, 6 designs on each. I'll fix that. Okay. Move this out of the way, and now we're going to set the second sheet here. Okay. Oops, that's backwards. You can already tell when you put the magnet on the wrong way, it doesn't want to grab. And let's fix this one. Okay, so we have our 2 sheets loaded. Okay, so we're going to close this. And we're going to look here at our timer. So we have 40 seconds, 50 seconds, 60 seconds. We're going to do 50 seconds. We're going to hit the cycle. So it's going to wash for about 50 seconds. You have your power on and off, so you can just turn it off and it would reset. It would stop completely. Everything would stop, and then it would and then you would turn it back on. It would be a full reset. But your run here means that's your run. It's in progress. This is your cycle. But you could pause it and it would stop. It would stop completely. And then if you hit run again, it picks right back up where you left off. It doesn't start over. Stop is a pause is just a complete halt for a moment, and then you hit run and it starts it from where you left off. Okay? What's nice is you don't have to worry about the timer to go and shut it off manually. Here you have 2 sheets running on its own. So I could walk over to my TV screen here and not worry about our washing. Okay, so we have Gino from Fresno. How are you doing? Richard from Chicagoland. Nice to see your name. I always say nice to see you, but I can't see you. So I'm glad that you're viewing. We appreciate you. Aaron, Terry, thank you guys for joining. We have Lori. All right, so let's take a look here and look at that. You know, this will also do photos. We forget about that. You can wash photos when it comes to our washout systems. So let's go ahead and peel away the magnets, and let's pull our sheets of film. I want to make a mention here. Don't leave the magnets on the drum. You want to pull them off when you're not, like overnight. You want to take them off the drum. So let's go ahead and stick these in our dryer. And then we're going to check our other ones here. So we have some dry sheets of film. I'm going to put these on the cover paper and show you how I would cut them down. So I'm going to lay them right over here. Okay, and let's take this last sheet of film and let's talk about this real quick. All right, so here we have our nozzles. Again, fixed distance. Okay, but we have a tremendous amount of pressure coming out. Okay, so we're not washing for 2 minutes, a minute and a half. Okay, we're not doing that. Yes, we're using water. We're using quite a bit of water at one time, but it's a short time. It's one cycle to do 2 full sheets or 1 long sheet. So I know some people think, okay, how much water does it use? It does not use that much water. It is pretty energy efficient, but you got to think of the capacity. You're not running for 2-3 minutes. You're running for seconds. See, so you're saving time. So now we can start to get backlogged with all the sheets that we're producing right away. We got to make sure that we have a dryer or a system to dry them quickly, and then break them down to get these stencils to our sandblaster to start producing our product. But we have everything set up here. You have, again, your hand sprayer. If you need to touch up anything, it's all right here. Your run, your pause, and then you can change with a simple dial. Just turn this dial, and you can change your washout time. Why would you change your washout time? Well, let's say you go from 3 mil to 6 mil. Let's say you go from 3 mil to 5 mil. So the film is thicker, so you're going to wash a little longer. But you should know, okay, 3 mil is going to be 50 seconds, or 6 mil is going to be 60 seconds. So you can just have a little chart, and then you would just turn that dial to that time, and then wash it out. So there's no guesswork. You don't have to run and pause it and go look. Just know, if you're using 5 mil and 3 mil, then just know what those wash times are, and just turn the dial, and you're good to go. So let's go ahead and put this in the dryer, and let's cut down our sheets of film. So I'm going to go around to the back, and I'm going to grab my cover paper. Now this is a cover paper dispenser. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of pull my trimmer over real quick. And I'm going to do this a little backwards, okay, because instead of bringing you guys all the way over here with the camera, we're just going to do it from this side. I'm going to put my sticky side down on the cover paper. Cover paper is pretty inexpensive, and it's very easy to use. So we're just going to trim this down. And you have your little border lines set up. And the other thing that you can do, some people have lighted tables. It works really nice because you can see exactly where you're trimming, especially if you're using that border line for an alignment line. Okay, so now we have our stencils. Now let's say, can you imagine if you were cutting these with scissors? Now I'm doing this left-handed, so I'm going a little slower than I normally would. I'm going to line this up. Now you do not want to have your production team cutting these down with razors or scissors. You want them to operate efficiently. You want them to move quickly. We talked last session, about knowing how long it takes to apply a stencil. I think that's very important. When you have a big order, you should know it's taking me 5 minutes to put on a stencil. If it's taking you that long to put on a stencil, we need to look at the process. You need to give me a call because we need to speed that up, because 5 minutes is too long. But if you say it's taking me 40 seconds, I would say, okay, that's good. 40 seconds is good. 30 seconds is good to apply a stencil. We want to move quickly, efficiently. What are we trying to do? We're trying to make money. And if we're taking a long time doing something, we're losing money. We have to protect our profits. And your labor is expensive. And you need to make sure that you're doing things quickly and efficiently. And then on the other side is we don't want to make any mistakes. So we want to make sure that we have everything operating correctly. All right, so I think you guys get the idea, right? You guys get the idea of breaking down your stencils. You have a nice little stack here. We did that in a few minutes, pretty quickly. All right, so let's look at some of the tools that we talked about last week. We have our air gun, and this is a great little air gun. It doesn't have a huge PSI because you don't want to have like a big air gun to where you're blowing off the dust from your abrasive in the sandblast system, because you don't want to peel up that mask, especially if you're going to paint fill. So this is really nice. You just has a little fitting. It connects right to your regulator. Real easy to install. So it pulls off your compressed air, and then you put it right into your cabinet through your little porthole here. And here you have your little gun that you can use to brush off any abrasive. Okay, really nice. And it's a great tool, production tool, when you're paint filling. So you can remove all that abrasive quickly. and efficiently so that you can get that bottle or that piece of glass right over to your paint booth to paint. All right? So we have that. The other thing that we have that's kind of new are the rubber rollers. Okay, so they're about 2 inches wide. These are great little handy tools when it comes to applying your stencil. You can actually have the carrier removed and then use this little rubber roller. So it's a great tool. We started selling these. These are about, I believe, $14. And so you'll see those on our website. And the other thing that I cannot quite reach, but I'm going to go grab it, would be our Optivisors. And this is something that we're selling as well. And this is great when you're painting or when you're applying stencils, small stencils. Think of a K-bar knife, think of the small little stencils. This is nice and handy because you have not only multiple magnifying glasses, but you have a third one, okay, and then you have a light, okay, so this is really handy. And then this does swivel, so you can actually move it around when you have this on you, and you can actually put light to the direction exactly where you need it. And this is something that we're carrying as well. Very handy. I use this when I do hand painting on bottles. So you'll see me use this soon, but a great production tool. And then we have the pickers. Forgot about those. So this is something that we like to use when you're picking out the mask. If you're doing any stage carving or you're doing any painting, these are great little tools to pick up the mask instead of trying to use a razor or dig with your nail. All right, and then your wire wheel rollers, always nice to have on hand to perforate that membrane, release any air bubbles that you may have in your mask. So we talked today about our film dispenser, our cover paper, our trimmer, but more importantly, our washout systems. Okay, so that's how we make money, is with our stencils. We look here and we can actually produce stencils right away. So let's look at the comparison from hand washing. Was 1 minute and 41 seconds to do one sheet. That's one sheet. Okay, and then we went to the 1020. Let's say it was about 60 seconds to do one sheet. So you're saving about 40 seconds there. Okay, in today's session, about 40 seconds. But this right here was the beast. Okay, this is like your employee. You have 2 sheets. You load them, you hit the button, you go expose 2 more sheets, you come back, and you're already pulling these sheets off. So you already have multiple stencils. Let's say 12 stencils or 16 stencils, where here you had 8, and then we hand washed, we had 8. So you had 16, you had double in a shorter amount of time. So we had about 50 seconds that we washed both of those. I probably could have cut the time down maybe by 5 seconds. But 50 seconds, this is the winner right here in today's, if we were having a race, today's segment is the 1232 washout system. But it's fully loaded. If you're looking and you're still hand washing, you feel like, you know, I'm a hobbyist, I do this on the side, this is a great system for you. I understand, we get that all the time. I'm not doing this full time yet. Okay, 1020 is perfect for you. But if you're a business and this is what you do, you need to invest in a 1232 washout system. It's going to help you. It's going to produce stencils for you quickly. And it's like an employee. That's what you want. You want things to move quickly. All right? Okay, so we have, hi Candace. Hi Tony. Is there a lot of maintenance? Great question. Let's talk about maintenance. Your maintenance here is after you're done, let's say you washed out 10 sheets, okay? I'm going to say close the lid with either system and then just do one cycle. And what that's doing is we're using that hot water to kind of push through and dissolve any blue residue. That's going to be key. One cycle after multiple sheets, do one hot water cycle, and you're done. The other thing that you can do, I'm going to pause it. The other thing that you can do is after, like, let's say once a week, you can get some Dawn dish soap and a soft sponge, and then you can wipe everything down and keep your whole machine looking nice and clean, your tray and your drum. One thing that you will need to replace will be your nozzles. And I'm going to recommend you replace them once a year. It doesn't matter if it's your 1020 washer or your 1232. Your hand spray doesn't last forever. What happens is that nozzle, that spray, that opening starts to wear and get wider. Just like your nozzle when you're sandblasting that nozzle needs to get replaced because that opening gets larger and larger. These nozzles, you don't need to replace them so quickly like you would a sandblast nozzle, but they do need to be replaced. And what is important is the direction of the nozzles here. You can see we're about a 45. Okay, so we specifically targeted the spray to spray in a pattern. And that gives you it washes the sheet out efficiently and quickly. And that's what we want. We want a uniform washout. So the nozzles are placed at an angle. You will replace them once a year. At least, I would just say at least. That's going to be once a year that you will replace them. But running your hot water cycle, at the end of the day, once a week, wiping everything down with some Dawn dish soap and a soft sponge would be great. We have Roland Rodriguez from India. Thank you for joining us. We also have Ann Martinez. Is there a lot of setup with the purchase? Not really. What your setup is you're going to bring in a garden hose fitting with a garden hose fitting with your hot water. You're going to connect it. We're going to put up the picture again for you. So there you go. There's your garden hose fitting. That's your water connection. So we have everything prepped for you. You're just going to install that water. Going to do it nice and tight. You know what it's like? It's like this right here. How easy was I able to connect this? Right? I did it right here live, connected this water fitting to my faucet. That's what you need to connect to the back of the washer. The other thing is the drain that you saw that drain pop up. So it's a 1.5 inch PVC drain. What we've done is we plugged it right into our drain system underneath our sink there. Very easy, and it's all prepped, ready for you to go. So you just need water and you need a drain. All right, so let's look here. Hi, Jay. How are you? Steve, welcome. And Karen from Elite Etching. Thank you very much. They are the ones that did a great creation of doing an alignment tool that I've used. So if you're looking for the alignment tool, you can reach out to Elite Etching, and they have a great product that makes it easy to align your glass and your wine bottles. And what does it do? It's a production tool that helps you speed up that alignment and applying that stencil. We have Nathan that has a question on washing out halftones. Yes, either system will wash a halftone. You're looking at a 3 mil. The 1232 is going to be superior. It's going to be better than the 1020 because the 1232 has a pressure, an efficient pump, and a motor. So you're going to be able to go from a 3 mil all the way up to a 9 mil in that system. So you can wash any of the mil thicknesses that we carry in that unit. However, the 1020 will only target the 3, 4, and 5 mil because there's not that pressure. It's pressure from your current system, your water system. That's the pressure you're washing the 1020. So you're limited to 3 to 5 mil. But your 1232, we've put in the pump and the motor to provide that extreme pressure to wash any mil thicknesses. So the halftones, yes. I know I gave you a loaded answer there, but the halftones you can wash in either system. It's a 3 mil, so no problem on that. We have abrasive imaging, Matthias, and I know he has a washer, and he says it works perfectly. So, hi, Matthias. It's good to see your name there. I hope you had a great vacation and ready to get back to work with us. I know that he's going to be helping us with Corel here in the future. And we have Josiah. He says, super helpful. Great, thank you. So we hope that you've enjoyed today's session. We have, we just keep the questions coming. We will log into YouTube and Facebook to answer them if we've missed any of them. But we thank you so much for tuning in. You know, our owner, if you knew his heart, he prays for you guys all the time. He's a great man. Great family. They love their customers. Okay, so you don't get to see that side of him, but we do because we work with them daily. But they really care about you and they want you to succeed. And so we just encourage you as a family-owned and operated business. We encourage you guys to just hang in there. You keep plugging away. You keep getting educated. You keep putting your business out there, putting your products out there, and we know that you will be successful, and that you already are, but you're going to get more business than you can contain. Isn't that great? More business than you can contain. And that's what we believe for you, and we thank you for joining us. The next session will be in a couple weeks. We're looking at session 20. So we got something special for you on session 20. And thank you.